Hi all of you, welcome to Narayana Online Digital Classes. Today we are going to see the 27th July 2021 session 1 paper chemistry part. Okay. And this is the first question given. A weak acid HA of concentration 0.001 mole per liter have conductance 2 into 10 power minus 5 Siemens per centimeter and molar conductivity at infinite dilution is given 190 Siemens centimeter square per mole, and the value of Ka of weak acid is given x into 10 power minus 6, and the value of x in the nearest integer is. So that is the question they asked here, and as the given acid is weak acid, as the given acid is a weak acid HA, we know that generally HA is always in equilibrium with H plus and A minus, and if you start with C 0 0, we can write now at equilibrium C minus C alpha, and this will be C alpha and this will be C alpha, and we need to find out degree of dissociation alpha, and they are asking Ka, acid dissociation constant Ka. Here if you want to find out Ka value, we can write that H plus into A minus by concentration of HA, which we write as C alpha whole square by C minus C alpha, or simply we can write that C alpha square by 1 minus alpha, which is given as Ka. So we need to find out Ka, and for that we have to find alpha, degree of dissociation or degree of ionization of weak acid. With the help of electrochemistry, conductance measurements data, conductance measurements, we can find out alpha for weak electrolyte. Alpha for weak electrolyte will be given by, alpha of weak electrolyte will be given by, so equivalent conductance or molar conductance at given concentration by molar conductance at infinite dilution. So molar conductance at given concentration by molar conductance at infinite dilution, so that will be given here by as simply alpha. Okay. So this is simply we write as molar conductance or equivalent conductance ratios at given concentration and to the infinite dilution gives alpha, as it is a monoprotic acid. So whether it is molar conductance or equivalent conductance, there is no difference. For that we need to find out molar conductance first. We know that molar conductance at given concentration we can write as K into 1000 by molarity. K into 1000 by molarity. We will write that. Okay. And this value K they only gave as 2 into 10 power minus 5 into 1000 by molarity of a solution is given to be 0.001, and if you simplify, so 2 into 10 power, if the 10 power minus 3 goes up, it will become 10 power plus 3, and 10 cube plus 10 cube becomes 10 power 6, and it is 10 power minus 5. So we will write as 2 into 10 power 1 and 2 into 10, that is equal to 20. So equivalent conductance or molar conductance at given concentration. So molar conductance at given concentration we got as 20, and they only told that molar conductance at infinite dilution is given to be 190. 190. Then find alpha value, and if we go for alpha value first, the alpha is equal to 20 by 190. So 20 by 190. So we will write this as 2 by 19 is the alpha value. If alpha is 2 by 19 and given concentration is 0.001, so we have the alpha value and we have the C value as 0.001. So substitute both in expression of Ka. As alpha is 2 by 19, so we can approximate that 1 minus alpha to be 1. 1 minus alpha is assumed to be 1, so that we can write Ka is equal to C alpha square. Ka is equal to C alpha square. And from this C 0.001 into alpha value 2 by 19 whole square. 2 by 19 whole square. And on simplification, the nearest value we can mention that as 11 into 10 power minus 6 we will get. 11 into 10 power minus 6 we will get. So, the Ka value was found to be 11 into 10 power minus 6, and they are asking that the value of x in the nearest integer. So, the nearest integer x value will be 11. So, x is equal to 11 we will write. So, answer for question number 1 is 11, right. So, weak acid is given, and for weak acid, how do we write equilibrium constant and acid dissociation constant for weak acid? So, Ka is equal to C alpha square by 1 minus alpha we will mention, and C value given, and if we know alpha value, we can directly evaluate Ka. But alpha is not given, and alpha we need to estimate with the help of conductance data. And for that, molar conductance at given concentration is mentioned, and molar conductance at infinite dilution also mentioned, and by using the two values we can evaluate alpha value, and with the help of alpha we can find Ka, acid dissociation constant. So, two questions, one question and two concepts, right. So, this is first question, and let us go for the second one. Let us go for the second question. So, they gave a simple matching. In column 1, list 1, they gave compounds, and the formula of the compounds were mentioned in the form of OH. So, it is looking like the compounds all are containing OH groups, but if we examine carefully, so all compounds, whether they contain OH or not, we will verify them. And list 2, whether they are acid or bases or amphoteric nature, so that we need to express. Let us assume that the first compound, which is NaOH. We know that S block, alkali metals and alkaline earth metals hydroxides, alkali metals and alkaline earth metal hydroxides are relatively more basic, and we can consider them as strong bases. As we can consider them as strong bases means as a degree of ionization is 100%, and they are capable of giving OH minus ions by 100% in the solution. So, that is a simple idea, NaOH. So, as NaOH is a strong base, alpha is equal to 1, and undoubtedly NaOH is a base. And the second one is given to be beryllium hydroxide. Beryllium hydroxide, you know, beryllium and aluminum are in diagonal relationship in the periodic table. Beryllium hydroxide and aluminum hydroxide are showing the diagonal relationship. Beryllium and aluminum are having the diagonal relationship, and their elements and the particular compounds also might show similarities in some properties. And coming to the next one, calcium hydroxide is undoubtedly basic because of S block and particularly alkaline earth metal. Alkaline earth metal is calcium and its hydroxide. Okay. So that beryllium hydroxide and aluminum hydroxide both are having the diagonal relationship of beryllium and aluminum, so that the both are amphoteric in nature, because as we know that aluminum hydroxide can combine with HCl and gives AlCl3, 3 moles of HCl, and it can give 3 moles of H2O, which is an acid-base reaction. Whereas the same AlOH thrice can combine with excess of sodium hydroxide also, and can form Na3 AlO6 plus H2O. Na3AlO6 and plus H2O means that aluminum hydroxide is capable of combining with both NaOH as well as HCl. So its nature is amphoteric nature. So both beryllium and aluminum hydroxides are amphoteric in nature. And coming to that last example, that is boric acid, BOH thrice, though we mention BOH thrice, it is not giving the OH ions, it is not giving OH minus ions, and simply the BOH thrice is nothing but H3BO3, which is boric acid, oxy acid of boron, boric acid. So that we can say boric acid is an acid. So first one is base, second one is amphoteric, third one is base, fourth one is again amphoteric, and fifth one is acid. So combinations if you verify, so first one to base, second one amphoteric, again base, amphoteric and acid. So the answer will become option 1. So nature of oxides and nature of hydroxides. Right. So let us go for the question number 3. In question number 3, lattice parameters of a crystal lattice. Lattice parameters of a crystal lattice. A is E not equal to B, not equal to C. A not equal to B, not equal to C. So 3 sides are not equal. And coming to the angles, alpha and gamma are 90 and beta, so this is a small correction. So beta is not equal to 90 if you mention. Beta is not equal to 90 if we mention. This represents which type of Bravais lattices? As among the 7 kinds of fundamental crystal structures, so which one is representing these parameters, lattice parameters? And suppose if you are going for the first category, that is what we say cubic. So in case of cubic, we can say that A and B and C are equal, and alpha, beta, gamma all are equal to 90. That is cubic. Next, if you are going for tetragonal, A is equal to B not equal to C, A is equal to B not equal to C, and we can say that alpha, beta, gamma all are equal to 90. And next, if you are going for orthorhombic, so orthorhombic crystal parameters are, so if you are going for, we can say that A not equal to B not equal to C, and alpha, beta, gamma are equal to 90. And then if you go for hexagonal crystal system, so A is equal to B not equal to C, and alpha and beta is equal to 90 and gamma is equal to 120, we will say that. Alpha, beta are 90 and gamma is 120. And if you are going for rhombohedral, so A is equal to B is equal to C, and alpha, beta, gamma are not equal to 90, we can say that. And triclinic, all are not equal at all. Triclinic, if you go for A not equal to B not equal to C, and alpha, beta, gamma are not equal. And so the possibility of, if you are going for monoclinic, okay, and in case of monoclinic we have A is not equal to B not equal to C, and then alpha and gamma are 90 and beta is not equal to 90 we have. So if we remember the 7 kind of crystal systems, and their parameters, so this kind of questions can be understood easily. Okay. So, as per the given data, A not equal to B not equal to C, and alpha, gamma are 90s and beta not equal to 90. If you are taking that, so only one we have, that is nothing but monoclinic. So, the type of Bravais lattice is monoclinic. So, purely memory based and NCERT, we have a tabular form of all lattice parameters, and from that it was given. Okay. Now, let us go for the next question, number 4. Number of geometrical isomers of complexes nickel tetracarbonyl and dichlorodiamine platinum complex, platinum dichloride, diamine platinum dichloride, and ruthenium trichloride ammonium complex. So, triamine ruthenium 3 chloride and diamine platinum 2 chloride and tetracarbonyl nickel 0, right. So, these are the compounds given, and as we know, NiCO4 nickel tetracarbonyl, and they are asking that geometrical isomers. So, geometrical isomerism is possible only, there is two possibilities, and one is square planar complexes and other one is octahedral complexes. So, geometrical isomerism is possible only for square planar and particularly the octahedral complexes of MA3B3 type and geometrical isomers of MA2B2 type of square planar complexes. Okay. So, coming to that nickel tetracarbonyl, so atomic number of nickel, if you consider iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc. So, nickel electronic configuration is, atomic number 28 and configuration 4s2 3d8. Because of the strong field ligand of carbon monoxide, there might be chance of abnormal pairing, so that this configuration will now become 3d10 and 4s is completely empty. So, 4s and 4p are completely free, and so that the hybridization will be sp3. So, in nickel tetracarbonyl, the hybridization is sp3 and the shape of the molecule is tetrahedral. So, tetrahedral complexes will not show geometrical isomerism. Tetrahedral complexes cannot show geometrical isomerism at all. So, number of geometrical isomers for nickel tetracarbonyl, geometrical isomers, if you write 0. Now, coming to that platinum complex. So, platinum complex are square planar here and ruthenium complex is given to be octahedral. Here coordination number 4 and here coordination number 6. So, platinum complex being square planar, which is of MA2B2 type it has. As it is MA2B2 type, so we know tetrahedral complexes cannot show, but square planar complexes can show. If you write A2B2 type, this is one possibility. Another possibility we can write here as A, B and B we can write. So, these are the two forms of MA2B2. As these are the two forms of MA2B2, so undoubtedly we can say that, so this form we can write as cis form and this form we can write as a trans form. So, there are two geometrical isomers. So, number of geometrical isomers for PtCl2NH3 twice. So, geometrical isomers will be 2. Okay. So, from this we can eliminate the options and we can say option 1, that is okay, that is one part. And let us go for the third example also, ruthenium trichloride and with amine complex. So, triamine ruthenium 3 chloride. If you are taking that octahedral complex which is of MA3B3 complex. In case of MA3B3, so we have two forms there. So, M we can write here, so coordination number 6 here, so all A's and here B's here. So if you join them, so it is appearing to be what form if you identify? So this is FAC form, facial isomer, FAC form. FAC isomer you will get, and by changing one of the position here, so if you write, so A, B, so if you are taking A here and B if you write, this is MER form. So FAC and MER isomers are possible for MA3B3 type, FAC and MER. There are two geometrical isomers possible here. So geometrical isomers are 2 for Ma3B3, and so that ruthenium trichloride with ammonia complex has geometrical isomers 2 in number. NiCO4 has 0, and Ma2B2, which is giving that platinum dichloro complex, has 2 isomers, and Ma3B3 has 2 isomers again. So answer will be first option. Right? So coordination chemistry question. Next question, let us go for the next one. Okay. So if you are seeing that, the next question given here, identify the correct hybridization and magnetic nature of the complex MnCl6-3. So this is another question given from the same coordination chemistry chapter. So MnCl6-3. We all know that chlorine is weak field ligand, chloride ion is weak field ligand. As it is a weak field ligand, and what is the charge on the central metal atom identify? It is Mn3 complex. So Mn plus 3 complex it is. As you are writing atomic number of manganese. So atomic number of manganese is 25. Atomic number 25, and common configuration what we write, valency configuration will be 4s2 3d5, 4s2 3d5. Okay, as it is 4s2 3d5 and for Mn plus 3, so first electron will be lost from 4s and second electron also can be lost from 4s, and the third electron should be removed from 3d, so that Mn plus 3 electronic configuration will become 3d4, and 4s is completely free, 4p is completely free, and 4d also free. And if it is strong field ligand, there might be possibility of inner orbital complex, but because of the weak field ligand of chloride ion, as a chloride ion is weak field ligand. As it is a weak field ligand, so abnormal pairing is not taking place and it generally prefers outer orbital complexes. So outer orbital complexes we can get, and high spin complexes we will get that. So outer orbital complex. So that the hybridization what we can expect then, so 4s, 4p, 4d will involve in the hybridization process, and total there are 6 ligands, so it needs 6 orbitals. So hybridization will be sp3 d2, sp3 d2. Undoubtedly, as it is outer orbital complex, so it is undergoing high spin complex. So it is a high spin complex because d4 we have and 4 are unpaired electrons in 3d, as there is no abnormal pairing. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. There are 4 unpaired electrons here. So number of unpaired electrons 4, and if you want to calculate magnetic moment, spin only magnetic moment, we can write root of n plus 2, 4 magnetons. So root over n, 4 plus 2 6. So 4 6 24 Bohr magnetons we will write. Okay. So it is a paramagnetic complex. So sp3 d2 hybridization and paramagnetic complex. That is for question number 5. So coordination chemistry, one of the important chapter for the JEE categories, JEE standard examinations, right? So this is question number 5, and let us go for the next one. Difference between bond order of CO and NO plus is x by 2. Then value of x to the nearest integer. Here there is no problem with respect to that synergic bond and metal to carbonyl complex. There is no question over that, and only they are asking that, so bond order of CO. Bond order of CO, when you are taking that carbon monoxide, so heteroatomic molecule, so number of electrons will be carbon 6 and oxygen 8 and total 14 electrons. Total 14 electrons. So because of having 14 electrons, it is having similar bond order as N2 because isoelectronic to each other. As we can take that isoelectronic N2 bond order is 3, we can write for N2. So CO bond order also we will mention as 3. CO bond order is 3. Okay. So bond order of CO is 3. Then coming to that NO plus ion. Coming to that NO plus ion. So NO, if it is, so number of electrons will become 15, and so that bond order will be 2.5. Number of bonding electrons minus anti-bonding electrons by 2 we will write mention as usual. So number of bonding minus anti-bonding by 2 will become 2.5. And for NO, if you write molecular orbital energy level order, so we can go for sigma 1s, sigma star 1s, sigma 2s, sigma star 2s, and then sigma 2pz, and then pi 2px, pi 2py, and then we can go for pi star 2px, pi star 2py, and then sigma star 2pz. We will take that, and normally we will go for the number of electrons directly, and we can arrange and we can find number of bonding electrons and number of anti-bonding electrons in that. If there are total 14 electrons, 2 here, so just arrange them all. Total here pi 2px 2 electrons and pi 2py 2 electrons total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 to 14 over. As a 14 over 14 electrons, so bond order will become. Bond order will become. So how many are bonding? How many are bonding? 10. Anti-bonding 4 by 2. So 6 by 2. So bond order will be 3, we will write. And if you are taking one more electron in pi star orbital, so bond order will be reduced by 1. Bond order will be reduced by 1. Okay. So NO bond order is 2.5, whereas NO plus bond order, if you take NO plus, number of electrons in NO plus will be again 7 plus 7, that is 14. Again the bond order becomes 3. Bond order becomes 3. Both NO plus and CO. NO plus and CO are isoelectronic and they have that both same bond orders. As bond orders are same, then difference, how much here difference between bond orders, then difference will be 0. So x by 2 is equal to 0, then x also will be equal to 0. X also equal to 0. So that is question number 6. So let's go to the next question. Question number 7. The value of delta H minus delta U for vaporization of water at 100 degrees Celsius. 100 degrees Celsius is given 10 square joule per mole. 10 square joule per mole, and assume water vapor to be an ideal gas. As water vapor is ideal gas and they told that vaporization of water, so for vaporization of water, H2O liquid is converting into H2O gas, we will mention. H2O liquid is converting to H2O gas, we will mention. And generally, as the process is isothermal, so we have to expect that delta is 0, but as because of the change of state, internal energy of gas is more than internal energy of liquid, so delta E not equal to 0. And here in the question they are not asking to calculate delta E, they are asking directly difference. And delta H is equal to delta U plus P delta V we can write if volume is variable, or delta U plus delta nRT also we can use if number of moles are variable. Means if number of gaseous products you are getting, so in that case we can use delta N also. So that delta H minus delta U we can write as delta nRT, where delta N signifies number of moles of products which are gases minus number of moles of reactants which are gases. Only for gaseous products and gaseous reactants we will consider delta N, and the number of moles of products gaseous are 1 minus 0, the value is 1 here. So delta N is equal to 1. Therefore, delta H minus delta U, enthalpy change minus internal energy change will be delta nRT. Delta N 1, R value 8.314, 8.314 into temperature 100 degrees Celsius means we will write 373 Kelvin. So 8.314 into 373, the nearest simplified value if you multiply, you will get that as 31 into 10 square, 31 into 10 square joules, because as R value we are taking 8.314 joules. So the x value they are asking, the value of x is 31, nearest integer. Nearest integer. So this is question number 7. Okay. So let us go for the next question. Density of aqua solution of NaOH is 1.2 gram per cc. So 1.2 gram per ml. Find its molality. So they gave that density of same volume of water. Density of same volume of water is given to be 1 gram per cc. If you consider that we don't know exactly what is the volume of the solution, we have that only data of density of solution and a density of water, only two we have. So if you consider the volume of solution, let us assume that volume of solution is 100 ml. Let us assume that volume of solution is 100 ml. So we can approximate that initially you are starting with 100 ml water. In 100 ml water, by adding of sodium hydroxide, we are having the same 100 ml solution with a density 1.2 gram per cc. Okay. So volume of solution 100 ml, so that volume of water also we can write the same 100 ml initially taken. So from this mass of water, how much we can mention that? By adding NaOH, here assume that NaOH is a solid and solid NaOH is dissolving in the solution to form solution, so that there will be approximately no change in the volume of solution. So only liquid solvent we are taking and solid solute we are adding. Solid solute we are adding and liquid solvent we have. So solution volume is almost equal to solvent volume we are taking. Solution volume is equal to solvent volume for solid in liquid type of example. Solid in liquid type of example, we can assume that approximately volume of solvent is equal to volume of solution only in case of solid in liquid type of solutions. We will take an approximation, and from that we are going for this idea. So mass of water for 100 ml, if you take 100 grams, then mass of solution will be, mass of same quantity of solution will be, so 120 grams, because density into volume, density 1.2, volume 100, 120 grams. Then from this, what is the mass of solute? Mass of solute will be 20 grams. So mass of solute we know, mass of solute we know, mass of water we know, and from that we can find mass of Particularly they are asking what molality. So molality is equal to weight by gram molecular weight into 1000 by weight of solvent in grams. Weight of solvent in grams. So molality they are asking. So weight of solute, how much we got? Approximately here 20. Gram molecular weight of NaOH is 40 into 1000 by weight of solute, I mean solvent in grams, 1000 ones and tens, 0 cancel, 4, so 2 by 4, 20 by 4 we have, and that is 5. Molality is 5. So solution is 5 molal. Solution is 5 molal. Only by taking that a simple approximation. So by adding solid solute into the liquid solvent, assuming that volume of the solution remains same. By taking that we can get the idea. So this is question number 8. Next. Let us go for the next question. All these questions are memory based questions given by the students. So let us go for the next one. Identify the wrong statement from the following about Ellingham diagram. Ellingham diagram in metallurgy. Ellingham diagram, when the temperature is drawn for delta G versus temperature, when the graph is drawn, delta G of a reaction versus temperature. So various reduction methods and carbon reduction is favorable at what temperature and spontaneity of a reactions, all ideas we can get from Ellingham diagram. In the Ellingham diagram, which identify the wrong statement, they are asking that it is wrong statement. So what is wrong statement in that? Okay, it gives the rate of reaction. It gives the rate of reaction. And it tells about the stability of oxide. Yes, it is given, because based on delta G and decomposition temperature, whether the oxide is stable or not stable, we can decide. It gives idea about reduction of metal oxide. Yes, it is carbon reduction preferable or metal reduction preferable. Which method is comfortable for converting the given oxide into metal? Yes, it will be given from Ellingham diagram. And gives idea about free energy of reduction also. So second statement, third statement, fourth statement are given from the ideas of Ellingham diagram. But the only wrong statement is it does not tell anything about the rate of reaction. It does not say thermodynamics, does not say anything about the speed of reaction. So Ellingham diagram, thermodynamic treatment of the metallurgical operations, doesn't say that anything about the rate of reaction. So this is question number 9, Ellingham diagram. Right, let us go for the next one. Question number 10. The main product of electrolysis of concentrated sulfuric acid. Main product of electrolysis of concentrated sulfuric acid. Whenever high charge density is flown through the concentrated sulfuric acid, so that the product what we can get here, H2SO4. H2SO4 is first giving that H plus and HSO4 minus. This HSO4 minus is undergoing oxidation and giving rise to moles of HSO4 minus is converting into H2S2O8 and giving 2 electrons, and this is the total process takes place at anode, anodic reaction. Anodic reaction oxidation, cathodic reaction reduction. So oxidation reaction is shown by bisulfate ions concentration if it is sufficiently more. So definitely in the place of OH minus of aqueous solution, so HSO4 minus is converting. So HSO4 minus is converting into H2S2O8, peroxy disulfuric acid. Peroxy disulfuric acid. So main product of concentrated H2SO4, if you do electrolysis, the product will be H2SO4. H2O8. H2S2O8. Anodic reaction. Cathodic reaction, as usual, hydrogen will be liberated. Cations undergo reduction at a cathode and anions undergo oxidation at anode. That is a simple idea of electrolysis. Okay. So let us see the next question, question number 11. Oxidation number of phosphorus in H4P2O7, H4P2O5 and H4P2O6 respectively are. As there is no peroxy bonds in any compound, there is no peroxy bond in any compound. So if you write directly in standard procedure, H4P2O7 take as 2x as phosphorus, because 2 phosphorus are there, and if you assume that oxidation number of each phosphorus is x, then 2 phosphorus 2x and each hydrogen 1, so plus 4, each oxygen minus 2, so 7 oxygens are there, so 7 2s 14 minus 14 is equal to 0, because as it is a neutral molecule, so sum of oxidation numbers will be 0. So that 2x minus 10 is equal to 0, and so that x is equal to 5. So oxidation number of phosphorus in H4P2O7 is 5. Similarly, H4P2O5, so plus 4 because of 4 hydrogens, and 2 phosphorus we can take as 2x, and 5 oxygen, so we write as minus 10, and summation should be equal to 0 as it is the neutral molecule again, and 2x minus 6 is equal to 0 and x is equal to 3, x is equal to 3. And the third one we have H4P2O6, same manner, plus 4 plus 2x minus 12 is equal to 0. So 2x minus 8 is equal to 0 and x is equal to 4 we have. So the oxidation numbers will be 5, 3 and 4. 5, 3 and 4. So option 1. Option 1. And if we examine the structure of H4P2O7, P11OOP from NCERT only. So all these compounds are given in NCERT and the structures also. H4P2O7 structure. And H4P2O5 if you consider, H4P2O5 if you consider, so P and P, double bond O, H, OH, here also OH and H, here O, that is H4P2O5. So both H4P2O7 and H4P2O5 contain POP bonds, and number of hydrogen replaceable acidic basicity of an acid 4 and basicity of an acid 2, and coming to H4P2O6 if you consider, so P double bond O, P double bond O, OH, 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 OH. Again number of replaceable hydrogens become 4. So they might ask that question, so among the three, which of the following has no POP bond, or which of the following has POP bonds likewise? So structures are important from NCERT data. Structures of oxyacids of phosphorus and oxyacids of sulfur, both. So let us go for the next question. So question number 12. Rutherford's model of atom cannot explain hydrogen spectrum. So Rutherford's model, first Thomson's ideas and then Rutherford's ideas, and then as Rutherford's model is failed completely, then Bohr's model came, and Bohr's model and followed by Rydberg equation. With the help of Rydberg equation, the hydrogen spectrum was successfully explained. So Rutherford's model cannot explain hydrogen spectrum. Yes, it is true statement. It is true statement, because the major thing is Rutherford's experiments, alpha ray scattering experiments revealed the discovery of nucleus, and the empty space of the atom. And most of the ideas of Rutherford are based on classical mechanics and which were not obeyed for the quantum mechanics, and the for particular structure of atom the classical mechanics ideas are not applicable, so that hydrogen spectrum is not explained by Rutherford. That is undoubtedly true statement. Bohr's model is not in accordance with Heisenberg principle. Bohr's model is not in accordance with Heisenberg principle. Bohr's model says that electron is revolving in well-defined circular path. Around the nucleus, electron is revolving in well-defined circular path. If it is so, at somewhere we can identify the exact position of electron, and with the help of angular momentum mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi, and we can find the velocity of electron also. So both velocity if you can find, momentum also we can find. Momentum of electron exactly can be measured, and position also can be depicted if the Bohr's atomic model is exactly valid every time. But Heisenberg principle said that it is impossible to find both position and momentum of an electron simultaneously and accurately. So you cannot measure both position and momentum at a time. So Bohr's atomic model is not in accordance with Heisenberg principle. That statement also true statement only. So we can say that both statements are true. Both statements are true. That is question number 12. Next, let us go for the 13th one. Generally, halides of lithium are covalent. Halides of lithium are covalent, and lithium has high polarizing power. Lithium ion has high polarizing power. We know that as anion is larger and the cation is smaller, so cation and anion, the polarization effects caused in the anion, and which is responsible for inducing the covalent character, which was given by Fazan's rules. So based on the Fazan's rules, we can say that as Li plus ion is a small cation, so most of the compounds of lithium are covalent. So generally, particularly halides if you consider, so most of the halides of lithium are covalent because of small size of lithium ion. So small size of cation is attracting the electronic density or electronic regions of the anion. So change in shape of the anion takes place, distortion of electron cloud takes place, which is resulting that the formation of induced covalent character between the ions. So covalent character is induced there, so it appears to be covalent nature. So lithium halides are covalent. This is true statement. That is true statement. And because of small cation size, it is attracting the anion electron density more. So polarizing power is more for lithium ion. So the statement 2 also true. So statement based question. Both are true. So we can go with first state option. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. Right. So let us see that question number 14. Question number 14. Units of rate constant of nth order reaction. Nth order reaction. So what is rate constant unit here? Units of rate constant. So what is the general expression for rate? K R is equal to K into concentration power N, where N stands for order of reaction. N stands for order of reaction. Okay. If it is 0th order, and what are the units of rate? Rate of reaction can be defined as change in concentration by time taken. As it is a change in concentration by time taken, change in concentration we will write as moles, time taken in seconds. So moles per per liter, because concentration moles per liter per second we write. Concentration moles per liter, time second. So moles per liter per second is the units of rate. And we want K. And you know, concentration of reactant or any substance we can always express in moles per liter. So K we write as R by A over N. So R we write as moles per liter per second, and A we write as moles per liter power N. So here it is, we have power 1, and denominator we have power N. So bring that to the numerator, so that we can write mole per liter power 1 minus N per second. Mole per liter power 1 minus N per second. So mole per 1 minus N and liter per N minus 1 and second inverse, because mole, if you expand, mole 1 minus N, liter is in denominator, so liter power N minus 1 and second inverse. So the first option we can write for rate constant. Okay. So this is question number 14. The units of rate constant for nth order. If it is first order, 1 minus n and n minus 1 will become zeros, and directly rate constant have the units of time inverse, second inverse. Okay. So let us go for question number 15. Equilibrium constant Kc for dissociation of PCl5 according to the reaction PCl5 gives rise PCl3 and Cl2 is given 1.844. So what is given data? Kc 1.844. Then initially if you start with 3 moles of PCl5, so PCl5 gives rise PCl3 plus Cl2, start with 3, 0 and 0. And they only told volume is 1 liter, so there is no problem with volume while writing the expression for Kc. Number of moles of PCl5 after equilibrium is set up. So these are initial moles. Okay. Then equilibrium moles will be 3 minus x, and this will be x, and this will be x we write. So 3 minus x, and number of moles of PCl3 will become x, and number of moles of Cl2 will also become x. So substitute them in Kc expression. So volume is given 1 liter, so equilibrium concentrations also remains the same, 3 minus x by 1, x by 1 and x by 1. So Kc for the equilibrium we write as PCl3 concentration into Cl2 concentration by PCl5 concentration. So substitute the values given there. PCl3 is what we write x, and Cl2 x by PCl5 3 minus x, which is given here as 1.844. So solve that and just give the value of x, and on simplification, what is nearest value of x? So closest value of x. Okay. So if you solve that x, so from this expression what we can write, x square minus 1.84. So x square is equal to 1.844 into 3 minus x. So x square minus become plus 1.844x minus 3 fours 12, and 3 fours 12 plus 1 13, and 24 plus 1 25, and 3 ones 3 plus 2 5. So 5.532 is equal to 0, and solve for x, and which is the nearest value, identify. So if you solve that nearest value, the value of x is close to 1.6. So the value, closest value is 1.6. So x value is 1.6, and so that number of moles of PCl5 left over. Okay. So they are asking that number of moles of PCl5 left over. and if you solve that, value of x will be, so minus b plus or minus, so minus 1.844 plus or minus root of 1.844 whole square plus 4 into 5.532 by 2. So nearest value, if you write that 1.844 plus or minus the value 4 5s 20 and 4 5s 20, approximately 22, and 1.8 whole square. So 1.8 whole square plus 22, nearest value if you write by 2, and you are going to get 1.4, not 1.6, it is 1.4. So x value 1.4 you will get. And what is the quantity of PCl5 left then? So number of moles of PCl5 left at equilibrium will be 3 minus x. So 3 minus 1.4, we can mention that as 1.6. So this is question number 15. Chemical equilibrium, Kp calculations, sir, Kc. Right? So this is the simple question given, and let us go for the next question. According to the Freundlich adsorption isotherm, x by m is equal to k into p power 1 by n. X by m is equal to k into p power 1 by n. When pressure increased by 2 times, then extent of adsorption becomes 64 times. So x by m initial, and this is initial if you write, then x by m final will be equal to 64 times of x by m initial. That is the idea given. So final adsorption, extent of adsorption was 64 times the initial. So we can mention that. So 64 is equal to k into p initial power 1 by n whole divided by, so actually when pressure is doubled, so final by initial we need to write. So final pressure is 2. Final pressure is 2p because when pressure is increased by 2 times. By initial pressure, initial data k into p power 1 by n. So this is 64 by 1. The ratio was given to be 64. And so that what we can write here, k gets cancelled, p power 1 by n gets cancelled. So 2 power 1 by n is equal to 64, and 2 power 1 by n is equal to 64. We write as 2 power 6, and so that 1 by n value is 6. 1 by n value is 6. So this is question number 16. So whenever pressure is doubled, so how many times the extent of adsorption was increased? 64 times. So what might be the value of 1 by n nearest value? Next question. 17th. So it's an alcohol. So alcohol on heating with H3PO4 120 degrees Celsius. So first elimination takes place, dehydration takes place, and as the first step is dehydration and the second step X converting to Y. So B2H6 in presence of H2O2 and OH minus, hydroborative oxidation. Hydroborative oxidation. Hydroborative oxidation is nothing but addition of H2O. Addition of H2O via anti-Markovnikov type product. Anti-Markovnikov type product. So first dehydration and then hydration. So overall is removal of water molecule and addition of water molecule again. And first when you are going for, so because of the, so this is not there, benzene is not there. So just only cyclohexane we have here. by OH, by giving off H plus, the OH group is completely going out and you will have the positive charge, which is a primary carbocation. And next position we have immediately tertiary position. So rearrangement takes place, and because of the rearrangement it becomes tertiary carbocation. So OH minus is gone. And then next possibility, hydrogen can be eliminated here and hydrogen can be eliminated from this place. So it is giving two possible products. So first possible product is this one and second possible product is this one. So this is becoming measure as it is a Sedgwick product. More substituted alkene. More substituted alkene is the product here. So Sedgwick product is major and Hoffman product is minor. So Sedgwick you will get, that is the compound X. And next step, so when you are going for compound X and if you are going for hydroborative oxidation is nothing but addition of H and OH, nothing but addition of H and OH to the double bond and gives that anti-Markovnikov type of product. Markovnikov means that OH group should goes to the tertiary carbon and more substituted position OH should go to if it is Markovnikov product. If it is anti-Markovnikov product, OH should goes to the opposite side of the double bond, means the less hindered side. So here if it is going to the more substituted position, that is Markovnikov product, less substituted side if you add anti-Markovnikov type product. So hydroborative oxidation is finally giving that anti-Markovnikov addition, and the final product you will get here as here OH. So if you see the options, and addition of H and OH both are always syn. Addition of H and OH always it should be the syn positions, but they didn't mention whether it is a syn or anti, so directly we can go for the option 2. Option 2, hydroborative oxidation. Okay. Next. So question number 18, CH4 on treatment with iodine. So iodination of alkanes, fluorination, chlorination, bromination and then iodination. So fluorination, chlorination are rapid. Fluorination takes place even in dark also. Chlorination takes place in presence of sunlight, and bromination also on slight heating. But most we can say that iodination is reversible. Iodination is reversible and not favorable condition. So we can make this more forward reaction in what? With the help of what agents? With the help of what agents? The problem is, as the formed HI is responsible for making backward reaction, and if you wish to make it only forward, if you wish to form only CH3I, and the HI should be immediately removed out. HI should be immediately removed out. If HI is oxidized, if HI gets oxidized, then automatically there is no identity of HI, and as per the Le Chatelier's principle equilibrium concept, so more forward takes place as HI is consistently has been removed. And HI is oxidized by either concentrated HiO3, or we can take that concentrated HNO3, which are good oxidizing acids, so that HI will be converted into I2 again. So I2 is again used for the reactant, and so that we get more forward direction reaction. More forward direction will be obtained. So the formed HI, if you can remove, we can achieve that forward reaction. If not, it's always stopping at equilibrium state. So as per that options, we can go with concentrated HiO3. Concentrated HiO3. So let's go for the next question. Question number 19. Monosaccharides and disaccharides are differentiated by. Monosaccharides and disaccharides are differentiated by Barfoed test. So directly we can say that Barfoed test is used for identification of monosaccharides only, so that only monosaccharides will react with Barfoed test, so that we can identify easily monosaccharides. So this is a simple directly statement based questions for monosaccharides identifications. So they are differentiated by Barfoed test. The mechanism is not required. Let us see the question number 20. In DNA, complementary base thymine is. Complementary base thymine. So for thymine, the complementary is what? For thymine, the complementary is what? Identify that. And for thymine, the complementary is adenine. So for T, it is A, and there are 2 hydrogen bonds. 2 hydrogen bonds. And for G, guanine, and there is complementary will be cytosine, and there are 3 hydrogen bonds. Thymine. So thymine complementary base adenine, and guanine complementary base is cytosine, and we will get that, and there are 3 hydrogen bonds associated there. So in DNA, the answer is adenine. Question number 20. Now let us go for the next question. Question number 21. Aniline is less basic than acetamide. Aniline is less basic than acetamide. If you are taking that aniline, which is aromatic C6H5NH2, aniline, whereas acetamide CH3CONH2. Okay. So aniline, if you are considering that, because of the delocalization, the NH2, the lone pair is involving in the conjugation. Lone pair is involving in the conjugation. So delocalization takes place, and so that carbon to nitrogen there is double bond character. And whereas in case of acetamide CH3C double bond O NH2, because of CO group and the lone pair is involving here in delocalization, so O minus double bond NH2 plus, so that nitrogen, if you calculate that, so nitrogen to carbon electron density is more shifting towards carbon, and availability of lone pair over nitrogen is less in case of amides. If lone pair availability, electron density is less over the nitrogen in case of amides, then it becomes less basic. So amides are less basic than aniline. Amides are less basic than aniline. But here they gave that aniline is less basic than amides. That is wrong. Because of this conjugation and because of that electron withdrawing character of CO and conjugation together, so amides are always less basic than amines and anilines. So that statement 1 is undoubtedly false statement. Statement 1 is false statement. And statement 2, in aniline the lone pair delocalized. Yes, it is undoubtedly because of the delocalization. So if you see that, so double bond NH2 plus if you write. So next, by shifting the electron pair here, negative charge, and next shift one more, and we can write one more resonance structure here. So double bond NH2 positive charge, and double bond here, negative charge here, double bond here. So delocalization of electrons takes place, and so that we can mention double bond and negative charge at para positions and ortho positions we will get, and again finally the resonance hybrid. So delocalization is available. So because of the delocalization, electron density at nitrogen might be reduced. Electron density at nitrogen might be reduced. Lone pair is delocalized, so that statement 2 is true. So the correct option is statement option 2. Statement 1 is false and statement 2 is true, and 2 is not correct explanation for 1. So 21 over, and see the 22. Which of the following given statements on eutrophication? Eutrophication means that the growth of algae or fungi because of the excess of DO content. So if there is a DO content of the water, and the DO content of water is responsible for availability of oxygen in the water, and which makes that population density of the algae or fungi. And so those both algae and fungi are taking the DO content. If DO is more, they are taking more and they occupy the total space, and which almost affects the aquatic life. So which is affecting the aquatic life because of this unwanted plant growth, algae or fungi, that is what we call eutrophication. And as a result of eutrophication, as algae and fungi are developing fast, and they will consume the oxygen which was present in the water as a DO, and so that the nearby DO value will be reduced. So eutrophication decrease oxygen level in water, which is a true statement. Now, if it is DO content is less than 6 ppm, so correction for this, DO content is less than 6 ppm, oxygen, so fishes can't survive, threshold limit value. So threshold limit value, if you identify the DO is more than 6 ppm, so that fishes can't survive, also true statement. That is also true statement. And eutrophication involve anaerobic respiration. Yes, it is. So anaerobic respiration is responsible for consumption of oxygen. Next, eutrophication increase oxygen level in water. No, as a result of eutrophication, there is a decrease in oxygen level. So this is false statement. And the question what they asked here, which are the following given statements on eutrophication are not correct. So the incorrect statement is said to be the fourth option. Next, 23, if you see that, as in 23, we can directly say that compounds which was in chemistry in everyday life, we have the drugs and their purposes. So for the first one, we can say directly fluorescein is antiseptic. And the second one, dimetane is synthetic antihistamine. And arsphenamine is antibiotic, and Valium is tranquilizer. So we have direct statements and the drugs and their purpose, and they are asked here. So direct values, direct answers we can say. So for this matching, we can go with option 2. For 23, option 2 we can give. It's direct matching. So the structures and the functionings directly we can refer in NCERT context. Next, 24. What is formula of mustard gas? So as all we know that formula of mustard gas is this one: dichlorodiethyl sulfide. Okay, so C2H4Cl, sulfur, C2H4Cl. So this is what we call mustard gas. Dichloroethyl sulfide. Next, 25th one, stability of given species, not actually molecules, they are ions. Stability of given ions. If you consider, the first one is benzyl carbocation, and the second one is ethyl carbocation, and the third one is acetylene. So acetylene carbocation, and the fourth one is vinyl carbocation. Vinyl carbocation. So carbon triple bond means which is sp carbon actually and having positive charge. So normally sp carbon, triple bonded carbon positive charge is highly unstable. So among the four structures given, the third one is unstable. We can decide. The third one is unstable, least stable one. So if there is a conjugation, stability will be more, but there is no conjugation and more electronegative carbon. So more electronegative carbon bearing positive charge is unstable. More electronegative atom bearing the negative charge is stable. More electronegative atom bearing the positive charge is unstable. So third is least stable, and directly we can go for first option. And so heat and trial method, or directly if you validate the remaining all four, we can conclude that first one, benzyl carbocation is more stable through resonance. More stable through resonance. So just like aniline, we can write that. So double bond here and CH2 plus. So these electrons will be involved in conjugation. So you will get rhenium complex. So here, so CH2 and positive charge, double bond and double bond, so that the delocalization of electron is possible, and undoubtedly the benzyl carbocation is stable. And second case, CH3 group is plus I, whereas hyperconjugation also possible, no bond resonance. Hyperconjugation also possible, and number of alpha hydrogens are 3 here. So the second one also relatively stable, then 3 and 4. So first is most and the second is the next. So the first option we can say. Among the vinyl and acetylene carbocation, so undoubtedly sp2 carbon, double bonded carbon is more stable than triple bonded carbon with positive charge. So the answer is 1. And this is the last question given, which are on memory based. Staggered and eclipsed forms of ethane. Ethane, staggered and eclipsed forms, if you are considering that. So this is what we call as eclipsed form, and the staggered form if you consider. So we write just representation here. This is staggered form, and so another one we can write here. This is another one we can mention, right? So this is eclipsed form and this is staggered form. So both staggered and eclipsed forms are nothing but rotational isomers. Rotational isomers, or simply we can say them as rotamers. They are not anomers and they are not epimers. So no anomers and no epimers, and no enantiomers also, because they are not optically active. And just these staggered and eclipsed forms are obtained only by carbon to carbon sigma bond rotation. Carbon to carbon sigma bond rotation. So those are said to be rotamers. So that is the paper. Thank you.